Thank you, Sebastián, for your presentation. Our next speaker is Diana Wiesner from Bogotá, Colombia. Welcome, Diana.
Well, good afternoon. I am going to try to speak in English and read a little bit, so excuse me for the English, but I'm very pleased to be here and talk to you about my vision of the region of Bogotá and my work, and a commitment of a landscape architect should have in a country like Colombia. Colombia, from its people to its landscape to its coastal and jungle ecosystem, is a joyful and complex country in the midst of a peace process of a hidden war. Diverse people for a multitude of perspectives, appreciation, and dreams. First, I'm going to talk about a work we did in China in a 2014. We participated in a national World International Art Competition for the design of a park of one of the most important ports in China, a reflection of Colombia, where both the abundance and the lack of water, and was fundamental to the design. This was the inspiration of a droplet of water where water came from. The power and the poetry of the movement of a droplet of water in a labyrinth through crests and valleys take shapes in a garden, modeled on Colombian landscape. The artificial topography was regenerated by the excavation and the creation of a labyrinth that reflects the instability of living in a country as Colombia, as uncertain, mysterious, and marvelous. We aim to appreciate and give the importance of the basic, subtle, and common sense in the garden. The forest part disappears behind a mist that is produced by atomices blooming the visitor's side. Wood, rope, metal, and stones come together to create an active structure, and the selected species that are native to China and have connections to the Colombian landscape enhance the park topographical design. In the heart of the park, there is a playground where adults become children again. Finding common themes between Colombia and China, such as cultivated landscape and the use of bamboo. Equally finding to represent our daily ordinary habits through games and circuits around the park, often resulting in elements such as hammocks to nap in. Bogotá, where I come from, is located at an altitude of 500 feet above the sea level, on a plateau in the eastern range of the Andes Mountains. Bogotá is surrounding mountains, and high elevation plains are home to ecosystems that are unique of this part of the planet, the páramos. A palette of gray and subtle tones dominated these sophisticated natural gardens where water springs up abundantly from the earth. Here you can see the mountainous and rural regions in green, the savanna in the light green, and the city of Bogotá in black. The plateau on which the city of Bogotá now sits was once a prehistoric lake. Due to geographical transformation, the lake slowly began to drain. And here is Bogotá today. The region population surpasses 8,700,000 people. And Bogotá is a 477 years old city, and during its development, functional and financial aspects were given priority, ignoring its geography. Today, the challenge is the conservation of the natural resources in the city and its surrounding. Until now, most of the plans have been dealt exclusively with the city of Bogotá. However, a great deal has yet to be done. We need to integrate three essential elements throughout the region: the mountain range, the hydrological network of the savanna, and the Bogotá River. Firstly, the mountain range, which bordered the city to the east and is of the primary topographical and visual importance. This mountain reserve, reaching up the 10,500 feet above the sea level, hosts a great variety of unique ecosystems. But as you can see, all socioeconomical groups have had a devastating effect on the mountains. The mountain ecosystems have been most affected by urban development in the two sides of the mountain region. This fragmented vision of the land applies both on the macro level and the small-scale planning projects. These three major ecological elements are being pressed upon the city and the region, and several projects are currently undertaken to ensure their protection and proper use. We propose the Bogotá Mountain Corridor that will transfer 53 kilometers from the northern tip of the city to the southern tip and will focus in three strategies. First, and the most important strategy, the social strategy, who aims to bring people in contact with the mountains and to encourage a sense of collective ownership of the land. A biophysical strategy which seeks to restore and maintain the environment, increase the ecological connection between the hills and the city and the wider region, and restore the ecosystem biodiversity. And third, the spatial strategy, and the last one, which incorporates the local communities and helps them to become involved in the conservation and sustainability of the land. There have been many studies around the mountains, and we have never improved none. And we are sure that it's very important to involve the communities and the people and to have a real change. There is a wide variety of social backgrounds in the mountains, and a new agreement to the people and their immediate surrounding, encouraging a change in attitude and behavior towards the land. Covering 415 hectares, the Bogotá Mountain Corridor will promote civic and environmental awareness of the mountains. A walk on this area will be greatly enriched by listening to real-life stories from the locals. In the south, the agriculture activity is putting pressure on these sacred high plains, and agricultural parks could maintain and contain these traditions. And to finish at the southern tip of the city, it finishes at the Entre Nubes Park in the very south of the city. High up at 13,100 feet above the sea level is the hydrological source where most of Bogotá water comes from. The city and its surrounding region are vitally connected. Planning must therefore take into account a macro perspective that includes the mountains, the Bogotá River, and the entire region, and the hydrological system. Our aim is to recreate an hydrological network adapted to the urban environment. This means collecting rainwater and moving through new urban environments. The result not only transform urban planning and construction, but will also create a great awareness of the role of water in people's lives. In the future, streets... something happened. In the future, streets could be built along the waterways. In the rainy season, the waterways could collect and move the excess rainwater, and in the dry season, the waterways could be used as recreational spaces. These corridors will be transformed into amphibious stretches. Historically, the Bogotá River has only treated in hydraulic terms. We propose a more natural way to give life to both the river and the city. The river has never been contemplated in ecological, recreational, cultural terms by the local government. It has been used almost exclusively for functional purposes. We need to change our short-term perspective of the Bogotá River, which is based upon controlling contamination and flooding, by turning it into a new integrated vision that goes beyond the short term. The river is not simply a natural wonder. It's also an axis from the region and the city in many aspects, as means of transport and ecological corridors, among others. The mountains and the river has always been treated as borders, but we have to change the idea of these natural borders are the axis and the connection of social process and ecological process. And we need to involve in the landscape interventions the social aspect and point of view, and very involved with the ecological process, not improving formulas or giving ways to move this. Sorry. We highly believe that we need to have a new way of improving and working with the landscape. After watching the time go by, while Bogotá's mountains and river continue to be ignored by the city government, we took upon ourselves as citizens, and we created the foundation of Bogotá Mountains, Fundación Cerros de Bogotá. This foundation aims to carry on these proposals, follow up them, and encourage grassroots mobilization and advocacy. We create territorial appropriation initiatives through artistic activism, dance, and artwork on mountain-related issues, as well as children projects in order to give people an excuse to walk through these steep hills. Volunteer-based community activities such as gathering stones, lessons, and how to build a garden, walls, and plant vegetable gardens, and the joy of having young people take interest in and join our cause, have given us an excuse to start restoring a spot in the mountains with native vegetation and concrete the border agreement with the people and the mountains. The last project I am going to talk about is named the Santo Domingo Library Park. This project in the north end of Bogotá houses a library, a concert hall, and the Santo Domingo Library Park. The park contribution to the public space has been an extraordinary value for the population of the northern district of Usaquén and Suba. In regards of the park flora, at the moment, eucalyptus trees predominate as they were existing species. When the construction began, we were therefore preserved on ongoing replanting and favors native species such as Jarumus, among others. We gave priority to the experience of entering the space by moving the building further back on the land of the lot and transforming the entrance to a pathway that has access for everyone. The design of the staircase ramp helps to cool the building naturally, which means the city's most important concert hall is energy efficient. Appreciation for the common and the ordinary included species that require non-maintenance and are conceived as malezas. We try to put a new aesthetic standpoint, but breaking traditional schemes established by public laws, proposing permeable and recycled forbidden materials such as the crushed brick, wood and charcoal, or bricks that are permeable to these materials, and ordinary grass called carretón. This was a very controversial decision because it does not look perfectly maintained and the aesthetic is different from the accepted status quo. And the most important of all, free rein to individual expression by the using of materials such as crushed brick throughout the grounds and inviting people to leave love messages. We also are working on other projects that we want to improve these malezas urbanas, and we are experiencing a new way of improving the diversity and having given the opportunity to be in cracks in one of the last projects we are working on, that is the Agora Bogotá. Our goal in a city that has been built in a hazard way is to put forth theories on biodiversity and sustainability management in such a way that they can reach the majority of the population and not be limited to a discourse among just a privileged few. We hope for a better day which the average citizens will make lifestyle changes in order to transform, protect, and live in harmony with our mega diverse biological heritage. Thank you.